to clear up what his motivations are around serving his community, we want him to do some photo ops, cleaning up a park or reading to kids in a hospital. Basically anything that isn't just dropping people off of buildings to break their legs and torture them and elicit a confession.
I've never wanted to have sex with a pot pie, but like, I'd have sex with that pot pie.
We're all weak to stepping on nails.
Let me preface this by saying I wrote a script.
Daytona Beach is like 2 mild inconveniences from being a post-apocalyptic wasteland anyway.
So many of my tabs say semen.
Just gonna Google old Western women's names. You can't handcuff me for skanking.
This motherfucker gaslights you.
Diet Coke and Sorrow will be chapter 4.
And against all odds, Kyle, we became those squirrely weirdos.
This whole podcast is a very negative mouthfeel. Hello and welcome to Debate This, the show where no one is right, but someone is definitely wrong. In this show, we take time out of our busy adult lives to talk about comic books, video games, and how after 9 weeks of WandaVision, nothing is Mephisto, and we all need to stop trying to make Mephisto happen.
Shut up, Todd. Mephisto's still coming. It's in the 10th episode, man.
Yeah, they're going to give it to us later.
Don't take this away from me.
Well, I mean, we spent how many weeks just saying Mephisto was coming, and then we were just left there awkwardly with no Mephisto to have.
It was 9 weeks. We spent 9 whole weeks.
Well,
if we're going to keep talking about Mephisto, I need more Kung Fu movies to do Mephisto puns on. So
stop it.
Because I'm out.
Terrible. Well, so over the last year of dealing with this pandemic, we've all kind of picked up some new hobbies. You know, some people, they make bread. Others have gone all in on puzzles. But unbeknownst to you all, I've secretly started a very successful advertising agency. It, of course, is titled...
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, of course. It's titled the Debate This Advertising Agency, or DT exclamation point AA, or DT if you wanted to do that.
That's what we want. That's what it is from now on.
That's canon.
As a career advertising professional, I'm offended.
Yeah, we'll step out of the bit here for a second. I am not an advertising professional, and I'm going to murder the difference between advertising and PR. So now that I've made that preemptive apology,
if you are an advertising professional listening to this, please turn off that part of your brain for the next hour
you're not
or
going to
so.
want that.
It's going to be real bad time.
Useful trigger warning there. That's really helpful.
Yeah. Again, unbeknownst to the listeners here, I was lectured by Andrew before we got on the call the difference between the two, and I didn't retain any of that knowledge.
3 times. 3 times, because I didn't want to embarrass ourselves in front of our esteemed guest.
Well, all of that aside, now that I have this very successful advertising agency up and running, DT exclamation point AA is looking to take on their first high-profile client for an ad campaign. Now, that's where you all come in. Joining me today in our socially distanced but very important-looking boardroom to get me to help sell their client are Kyle, researching family ancestry Harper, Andrew, taking up needlepoint Henderson, and Matt, making homemade jam Cole. Also, we've called in a special guest to really help us raise the profile of these DC heroes we're going to talk about. Alyse, learning detailed origami Knorr. Alyse, welcome to the show.
Yeah, welcome.
Man, thank you for having me. It's so nice to join you from my house that is made of origami.
So in case you're curious, I Google searched what are the most popular hobbies that people have picked up in the last 10 or 11 months, and these were 3 of them.
There's
There are 4 of them,
There
I
are
guess.
4
There's
of
4.
us.
Well,
Yeah.
there's 3, and then there's a 4th one of them.
Real quick, A House Made of Origami is my favorite Hayao Miyazaki film. Anyway, let's continue.
now that we've got that behind us, Alyse, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, thanks again for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I am a writer and English professor based in Denver, Colorado. I run a women's poetry press called Switchback Books, and I also am one of the co-creators and the researcher of a podcast called Sweet Bitter, which is all about Sappho and Sappho's life and legacy. Season 2 is going to be out next year, and it's all about queer pirates. So we're trying to tell some untold
That's so
stories
awesome.
from
amazing.
queer history.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're way gayer than you'd think. I mean,
I believe that.
Whatever level of gay you think they are, it's definitely more.
it's
more than
10
that.
times that. Yeah.
That's so cool.
That rocks. So for listeners, a little bit of a fun fact. So Alyse and my partner met at an AWP conference a couple years ago. And what this was like a crazy random happenstance, but she was on TikTok, as you do in 2020, and Alyse's TikTok came up, and she was singing about gay pirates, and I was like, "That's fun." And Jess was like, "Oh, I know her. That's Alyse. I met her." It's like, does she want to be on our podcast? Cool, let's do it. So here we are. But yeah, we're so happy to have you. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, and I'm just happy that gay pirates could bring us all together. Like that is the gift
Oh, yeah.
that keeps on giving, right?
That's
Like,
how it should be. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
You missed the multiple weeks, or I guess months, that we talked about One Piece, which would have been, I would have rather listened to you talk about gay pirates than hear about One Piece. So,
I mean, One Piece is pretty gay, so
One Piece could
like
be
in a
pretty
good
gay.
way.
All right, well, let's get down to business here. So you are all here because you each manage the public relations for a DC super. Good, bad, otherwise. I have not looked at your answers, so I don't know what you brought me today. So my question for you here is, who are you representing? Tell me just some basic information about them. And then if your PR firm has a name for because you're a PR firm and I'm an ad agency and I totally understand the difference, tell me what the name of that is. All right, let's stop focusing on me. Let's just have Kyle give an answer.
All right. So Todd, we are here representing Question, a conspiracy theorist vigilante who wears a floor-length trench coat, wears a mask, and we've all come to the conclusion that it is not the best look for an investigative reporter here in 2021.
A lot of buzzwords in that first sentence.
Oh
there.
yeah,
Sure was.
Yeah.
Besides that, print media is dying. You don't want to be writing, a tried and true conspiracy theorist doesn't want to be writing for corporatist rags anymore anyway. So that's why we here at Not Fake News are going to help modernize Question's look and create a platform where they can still craft wild theories out of the smallest coincidences, still talk condescendingly to anyone who doesn't get it, quote unquote, and get the real truth out to the masses by helping Question launch a YouTube channel.
So, this is a bit day, Kyle? This is a bit day.
It's a whole bit.
Great.
Got a bit.
Get ready.
Guys, we're so bad at making friends. We had a writer come on our podcast, and the first answer is print media is dead.
But it's all about, and I think there's just there's a real possibility here for Question to have some space on certain networks that really go for this. So yeah, I mean,
The feeling behind the words "certain networks," I feel it. That's That's doing a lot
I'm
of heavy lifting.
subtweeting. I'm definitely subtweeting.
And we are chasing
got an energy.
those certain networks here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Andrew, what do you got for us?
All right. I guess your ad agency is contracting out my PR firm, even though doesn't matter.
Okay, time out.
Anyway.
I'm going to tell you right now, if you're going to harass me from the other side of this long conference table, we're going to have a very short meeting today.
This got big talking tungsten vibes. So Todd, my team here at 7 Deadly Spins.
Oh, wow. That's very good.
That's super
Good for you.
Thanks. I spent the most time on that. We are proud to represent one William Billy Batson, one of the many future leaders coming out of our great city of Philadelphia's public school system. Now, despite being orphaned at a young age, Mr. Batson has shown great resilience and has defied the odds stacked against him. He's been put on the honor roll 3 times in the past school year, has near perfect attendance, and is even involved in extracurriculars. For example, acting as the wizard Shazam, he currently maintains dominion over the 7 magic lands as the power of Hercules and Zeus course through his prepubescent veins. Also, he's in Model UN.
Oh, that's what really counts.
That really
I
ramped up.
hear you get early college credit for maintaining dominion over the 7 magic lands.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, one of them doesn't count because one of them apparently is a video game.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh. Weird.
It's the game lands.
Strange. I learned more about Shazam in your paragraph than I learned from watching the whole Shazam movie.
Same.
Shazam rules, guys. Shazam is really weird and really cool.
Yeah, this is quite a resume. This is really you had me at near perfect attendance, and then you added the
Right?
other
I
stuff
mean,
on top of
he's
that.
for a 15-year-old kid who's been shuffled around the foster system. Like that's That's enough.
I really feel like you left the high notes for the ending of your statement. I probably would have opened with, maintaining dominion over the magic
I
lands.
said honor roll.
You did say perfect attendance and honor roll. Those are both those are going to be good things for us to highlight here in my ad agency, which is the bit we're doing.
2 of those 3 things are important on standardized tests.
All right, Matt, who are you pushing here in the boardroom that I'm sitting in?
All right, Todd. So
there's like scotch tape on the posters behind me. It's still new. We're trying.
You've spray painted over ad with PR. You got flashcards with the definition of PR on it. Anyway,
Yes.
So Todd, listen, who are we as a people to ask any more of our combat veterans who were injured on the job? And who are we to expect them to return to the lines of active duty to save us? Who are we to ask our wounded warriors to live a life of radioactivity, separate from their own corporeal form with the mental anguish of all the brain-dead husks their subconscious has inhabited in the last 60 years? Todd. What? Yeah, you made a face.
No, the first 2 things that we asked ourselves, who are we to do these things, I understood. The third one kind of threw me, and I'm waiting to see where you go next.
Well, Todd, I'll tell you where we're going next. Retired Air Force pilot Lawrence Larry Trainer has been doing just that. My client has already sacrificed so much for the greater good, and all he's earned from it is the moniker Negative Man. Well, we here at the Manhattan Project are uniquely prepared to spin the image of both mass radioactive fallout and enhanced men residing predominantly in a blue post-human form. And we look forward to putting Mr. Trainer on the right side of the public eye.
I thought I was going to have the iffy one today.
Little did you know, Matt brought Manhattan Project.
I have a few questions.
Please.
Yeah, the Manhattan Project might need a new name itself. Like,
Yeah.
Same question. Do you need a PR form for your PR firm?
So let me step out of the bit for a minute and say that, so I'm doing Negative Man. That's the thing here, is it's Negative Man. And Negative Man looks like a little bit like Dr. Manhattan. And so I was like, wow, wouldn't it be cool if the same PR agency that worked with Negative Man had worked with Dr. Manhattan? I'll call it the Manhattan Project. And as I typed that out, I was like, that's something else.
Yeah, it sure is, Matt. It
And I
really
Googled it and
is.
Where have I
remembered.
heard that before?
And it turns out, if we're being honest, they're uniquely qualified. I don't know what else I can say here.
Only because you brought up Dr. Manhattan. The question was originally supposed to be in Watchmen instead of in the place of Rorschach, but DC didn't want Alan Moore to kill off Question, so he wrote a whole new character. I learned today.
Wait, so Rorschach
That's
is like an
interesting.
off-brand question?
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
That's
I wonder-
awesome.
Weird.
Yeah.
Wild.
That's so cool. I mean, I immediately thought of Rorschach when you brought him up, but I was like, oh, it's probably just like a DC thing.
Nope. Literally an off-brand Question.
Huh. The more you know. Well, anyway, canonically, this is the same Manhattan Project. They've just moved on to PR instead of nuclear warfare. Same
Sure.
people, though.
Seems like a natural transition. Like they already have exactly the skill sets you needed.
That Venn diagram is pretty much a
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
Negative Man is in the middle of that Venn diagram.
My entire team is just whispering back and forth. Did he really say the Manhattan Project? Is that what he said?
bold.
While I
Bold
quiet
thinkers.
them down, Alyse, why don't you give us a palate cleanser to the phrase Manhattan Project?
Sure. So here at Sky Signal Relations, we have a very high-profile client. He's actually a little bit skittish about revealing his identity, so I'm not going to name any names. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about him. He's super passionate about civic improvement. He's dedicated his entire life to cleaning up his city, which we find really inspiring to watch how hard he works at that. In fact, he's been passionate about this true calling he has since he was a very little boy. And if I had to kind of sum up his vibe, it's that he's not the hero that his community needs right now, but he is the one that it deserves. He primarily works in the evening. He's just as interested in stopping petty thieves and street crime as he is crime bosses and evil villains. And he's also extremely versatile. He's a true Renaissance man, gifted in several martial arts, strong and fast, but also an excellent detective, really the world's greatest, and extremely adept with gadgets. So yeah, that's a little bit about my client. We're looking forward to working with y'all.
Extremely adept with gadgets. Just that description is really problematic.
Yeah.
From what you're saying, it sounds like your hero or your person comes from probably a well put together and in no way traumatic background or story, and so we really that could be a good one. So we're
Well, we'll get
excited.
into that. I mean, there's a reason
Oh.
I'm coming to you for help, so
Oh,
like
that's
we'll
fair.
get into that. But
Because that's what I do in this advertising agency.
Is help PR
is
first?
help our PR firms.
Listen,
Oh my god.
if we I'm
so
on this
good.
end of the boardroom table. You're on that end.
Listeners, Matt's eye burst a capillary
Yeah.
at all the
Well,
things
anyway,
Todd is saying.
Moving on from that, this all sounds great. I love everything, most of the things you're doing.
You should.
It's true. I wrote that out before I said it. Well, anyway, like they say, any PR is good PR, and I'm an advertising agency. So tell me a bit about your hero or villain, I guess. Some of their backstory. Oh, and why they are exactly in a need of some good, fresh PR support from my advertising agency. See how I said that?
And good old-fashioned SEO from your advertising agency.
I'm just going to keep saying advertising agency because the more times I say it, the more I feel like I'm right. Kyle,
I'm
go.
furious.
You should be.
So Todd, as I mentioned earlier, our client, Victor Question Sage, began his career as an investigative reporter in Hub City. And we at Not Fake News think this is an important part of who Question is. He launched his career by exposing a voting scandal for mayor, and we think the irons are hot to get this guy back in front of an audience right here in 2021 for no specific reason.
Absolutely no reason at all.
None at all. We want to leave the petty crime fighting to your batsmen, your arrows green, and put Vic in front of a camera doing what he does best, calling truth to power. Do you know the things on the ends of your shoelaces have a name, and that their true purpose is sinister? Vic does, and he thinks the public deserves to know that behind every basement of a pizza place or microchipping vaccine theory, there are real sinister conspiracies at play. And Vic is the guy to ask the question.
Kyle, you just invented TikTok.
I'm really concerned that his name begins with Q because it feels like
Oh, well, don't you worry, we're going to get to that.
Oh, no.
shit. I need to take an Advil or something.
There were a lot of dots that got to that and at least just like drew the straight line to the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. We would like to hear from someone else now. Andrew, please go.
Kyle, I like you normally, but I hate you right now.
Every time you do one of these bits, man. Just every
Terrible.
time.
Yeah. Okay, so by now we've all seen the footage, right? The police break up a massive house party where at least 100 teenagers are all intoxicated. And then a bodybuilder wearing a cape and spandex with a lightning bolt on front comes out yelling, Shazam! And then punches a hole through one of the police cruisers. Then he throws another one. And then a huge lightning bolt crashes through the ceiling and explodes the roof off the house. You know what? We need to give you the play-by-play. This was later identified to be, of course, our client, Mr. Batson. Now, it's important to know about his past to understand the real Billy. You see, Billy didn't grow up with a solid family unit like Clark Kent or with a silver spoon in his mouth like my colleague's client.
Which one is this? It's hard to know for certain.
Yes. Billy instead was bounced around from foster home to foster home, never knowing his biological mother or father. At 15, he was placed in the care of Victor and Rosa Vasquez, who were currently fostering 4 other children at the same time. Now, around this point, Mr. Batson recalls wandering onto a subway and being transported to another world where an old man, quote, gave him super strength and other cool shit, quote. Now, Mr. Batson used those powers to then save the city from the malice of a 10,000-year-old ancient Egyptian slave who stole a similar set of powers from the nephew he earlier murdered. So,
Did your client get on a subway and take drugs from an old man?
Yeah, these sound like subway
kind of
drugs.
like your client got on a subway and took drugs from an
I
old
can
man.
neither confirm nor deny that. So listen, Mr. Batson just wanted to blow off a little steam. He just saved the world from a vindictive demigod. What's a few spilled PBRs between fractured universes anyway?
I mean, whomst among us
I mean, how many is a few?
among
Because
us?
it's
Whomst
probably
among
about
us what, Todd?
$6.
hasn't
sentence?
consumed a PBR or two and fractured a universe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it sounds like college. Like,
Exactly. Also, weirdly enough, the Zachary Levi movie Shazam, very close to the source material.
Really?
That is what I learned today. Yeah, like
That's
the only
astounding.
the only difference is that they didn't have Black Adam, which was okay. So I should have explained. So Black Adam is Shazam's like nemesis. Black Adam was the he's not from ancient Egypt. He's from a planet. Kyle, back me up here. He's from a planet that is like ancient Egypt, but I forget the name.
It's ancient Egypt
don't-
adjacent.
It's ancient Egypt.
I think if
adjacent.
anyone here needs some good PR, it's probably the guy running around calling himself Black Adam.
Black Adam.
It's very problematic, which is why the movie just like took him out, and why we're not going to talk about him
Well,
at
that's
all.
why they casted him as Dwayne The Rock Johnson a decade ago, and he's still sitting on ice, and
That's
they haven't
right.
made the movie yet.
Right, yeah,
That's right, that's
it's
right.
coming out with the Gambit movie, I think.
Channing Tatum heard that joke, and he's not happy.
Yeah, so the main bad guy from the Shazam movie is the one who awakens Black Adam. So they just made that character do all the Black Adam stuff, and everything else like pretty much plays the same way as the New 52 post New 52 storyline goes. Anyway, Shazam is weird.
Shazam's real weird.
Yeah.
So to make this, my colleagues and I on the other side of the boardroom table that all have binders that either say PR or advertising, and we flip them around when necessary.
One's blue and one's red. Yep.
Yeah, it's like if you read it one way, it's the one way. Just to get this clear, you've brought us a child who has unfathomable ancient energy
That's correct.
and has definitely done what some would call harmless child antics, only with the power of an ancient undead god.
Correct. Yeah. Actually, not an ancient undead god, with the powers combined of Hercules, Zeus, the wisdom of Solomon, and the speed of
Hermes?
Mercury. Hermes.
didn't you see this episode of Mad Men? Like, you just need to go lie on the couch and have a nap. And this is why they pay you the big bucks. Like, I don't see the problem. Like, this is a good challenge.
Yeah, three bourbons in, you'll figure it
Yeah,
out.
we're definitely pouring more bourbon out
It
right
sounds to me, though, Todd, if you go with Andrew, you're going to be paying a lot of money for what boils down to a boys will be boys argument. I think...
Gotta tell you
off,
that,
Kyle.
I specifically love that Kyle, doing the bit he's doing today, tried to dunk on you saying boys will be boys. Kyle, who the last time I think you did a bit like this, the bottom line was make America go fast again. I think that was the joke.
No.
I think there was another bit
And we
in
hated all
between
of that too.
That there's been like 7. Kyle, other media channels, Harper.
Anyway, let's put a pin on that one. Matt, is yours going to require me to try and pay for broken cop cars?
No. So we here at the Manhattan Project want to bring
Proud about that. Doesn't feel good the second time.
the history of Mr. Trainer to light. See, he was a humble test pilot for the Air Force. Larry was living the American dream. He was serving his country. He was flying fast planes. He had a wife and kids at home. He was experimenting with his sexuality. Everything a man could ask for. Well, that all changed when his plane was sabotaged and he was forced to fly through a radioactive field at the edge of our galaxy. He narrowly avoided a crash landing and even saved his own rescue plane from crashing by projecting his superhuman non-corporeal form to guide them to safety. Even on the brink of death, Mr. Trainer was a hero. He returned home only to be shunned for his horribly disfigured appearance and locked in a lead cell. Now, you see, Todd, it didn't take long for someone to take interest in Lawrence. A mad scientist who called himself the Chief took it upon himself to reintroduce Mr. Trainer to society. But his plan was much more sinister than it seemed. Who changed the Chief to Chef? Come on.
That's really funny. All right, continue. You left off at chef.
Yeah, Anyway, His plan was much more sinister than it seemed. Instead of helping my client come to terms with his condition, the chief wrapped him in plastic bandages, making him no more than a 20th century mummy destined for a landfill. Not only that, the chief was the one who sabotaged Mr. Trainer's plane to begin with. Now, we're all familiar with Stockholm Syndrome. The chief used my client and his tragedy as no more than a tool for his own gain, forcing Lawrence to push himself to the brink of death, merge with elder gods, and watch his crush marry an eccentric billionaire only to act as a surrogate uncle for their adopted son. Larry Trainer has lived a life of extreme tragedy, and through all of this, he's only wanted to help. It's time for the Manhattan Project to pull this negative man from the clutches of the Doom Patrol and reintroduce him to the world.
I'm already thinking Dancing with the Stars. Like I'm just spitballing here. Like it's the first thing that comes to my mind. Like
I think that's a little more up the alley for the question and Kyle's mind.
Two notes.
Go ahead.
So far, the audience that listens to this podcast cannot see your parentheses, but I think they could hear them when you said it.
I tried. I tried to make my fingers really loud.
Jesus.
It was
Also,
quotes, not parentheses, you dweeb.
This is a PR firm and an ad agency. We'll say what we want to say.
Yeah, PR is to ad agency, as parenthesis is to
Quotation marks.
It's you're an Apple salesman trying to sell oranges.
Excuse me, you were already pushed out of this boardroom. You're not in here right now. My second question was, I see that merged with elder gods. You kind of skipped over that pretty quick. Was this Larry? I believe they call him. Was he also doing Subway Club drugs? Was that what this was?
No, this was in the negative zone. It really only happened once. I don't know. We don't talk about it much.
The negative zone
Understandable.
definitely sounds like a place you go to buy drugs.
Yeah, okay. I don't have a good argument for that. You're kind of right.
it sounds like something my mom would have said to me in high school. Like, why are you get out of the negative zone, Alyse?
I keep hearing the kids are hanging out at the negative zone. You know
Yeah.
anything about that? They're going there to make out.
It's got big high school counselor energy. Like,
Totally.
you see, son, you've been spending too much time in the negative zone.
Oh yeah, it's what I would have heard at church camp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
We got to bring you out of the negative zone.
Oh, I hate
every
all
time
this.
every time you guys remind me of church camp, I get in the negative zone.
Hey.
Yeah.
I love that it's either like language around church camp or it's where you go to buy hard drugs. That sounds about right, you know?
Again, Venn diagram, almost a circle
Yeah,
there.
I think
Six
six
of
of
one,
one,
I
half
really
dozen
just
of
want to say,
another.
I think the one leads to the other, and you can choose
Yeah.
which comes first. But
Right.
you know, well, good. Negative Man, Doom Patrol, air quotations, got it.
Air
Alyse,
parentheses, Todd.
stop it. Alyse, hopefully you can give me an answer that won't make fun of my inability to distinguish between punctuation marks.
I'll try.
what
I'm
we
just
can
going to
ask
go
for.
through a list because we've got a number of issues with my client. Like I said, he's wonderful, but there are some things we're concerned about with his image. The first being that he just makes everyone around him feel outrageously uncomfortable all of the time. I mean, even people on his side, he screams at. He's constantly brooding 24/7, brooding. I mean, he lives in a cave. That's how broody he is. He'll even like. I mean, some of it's just rude. Like he lacks normal social skills. He'll disappear while you're talking to him. Mid-sentence, he will disappear. Or he will hide in a dark corner just to jump out and surprise you. It's terrifying. He's not a team player unless you're a teenage boy from the circus, which we feel uncomfortable
Hey,
about.
can check.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe we could. He has nipples on his costume. He has a really intense costume.
Was one
So some
time.
of these things are, yeah.
The 90s was a weird time.
Yeah,
Hell of a
we've
drama.
never forgotten it. Let me just put that out there. Some things you can't. So some of it's superficial, but there's really kind of like an increasing belief out there, I think, that his good deeds are motivated more by his own anger and personal revenge and thrill out of inflicting physical violence on people rather than a genuine interest in protecting the citizens of his city. And furthermore, we're concerned that because he chose as his mascot a flying rodent known to carry diseases like COVID-19. It's just bad timing. It's really bad timing. He could have gone with any animal, and he chose a blood-sucking vampiric creature of the night. And I get it. He wants to strike fear into the heart of his enemies, but it just ends up freaking everyone out. Like I said, it makes everyone really uncomfortable, and we just think we need to get some better advertising around him.
Welcome back to Buzzwords, the podcast.
Yeah. Now you see, Todd, here's a major difference between advertising and PR. An advertising firm would never be bold enough to call their client, quote, a huge bummer.
So outside of the bit that we're doing here today, you describing the nipples on the rubber spandex costume instantly drove the image to every one of our brains. Everyone automatically saw it again. Like it's there. It's real.
It's my childhood. It's like,
Word on the street is if you ever run into George Clooney on the street and tell him you saw Batman Forever in theaters, he'll give you $9 out of his wallet to pay you back for the ticket you bought.
Is that real or is that a bit?
I mean, it's a bit he tells, but
okay.
He tells that bit.
Got it. All right.
Or he
That's
told
awesome.
that bit for a while.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's an IRL bit. It's a
Yeah.
real life bit.
I choose to believe
Cool.
that's real.
I always did think he was a better Bruce Wayne than he was a Batman, and that actually adds ammo
Yeah.
to my belief.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's a good Bruce Wayne, and I think Val Kilmer's an excellent Batman.
It seems like the actors that play the role can't be both.
Yeah.
I raise you Michael Keaton. I think Michael Keaton was the best of both.
So good.
That's true. That's a good point.
Until we see this next iteration of Batman, and then he's just gonna knock it right out of the park.
Our Pat?
Yeah.
Our Pat. I couldn't think
I
of
was
his
waiting
name.
to see if someone wanted to say something about that.
Guys, they made the gun that killed his parents is in the bat symbol. Like, it's so innovative. Like, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into his trauma. Like, it's gonna be really different. Like, fuck me.
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to start with an origin story. No one's ever seen it before.
What? Yeah. There's it's like the cardinal rules of comic book movies. Like we don't need to ever see Uncle Ben die again. We never need to see Thomas and Martha get shot again. Like we're good. We're collectively as a society good.
Yeah, I remember watching Batman versus Superman and saying, I tweeted out, like, oh, good, I'm actually going to be able to watch this movie without seeing the Waynes die.
Nope.
And then a minute later,
Oh, do they? Fuck. That sucks.
of course. Anyway, moving on. If I've learned anything about advertising a product, it's all about... Is this good
It's
yet?
not
Have I
much.
got it? Well, it's all about rebranding when it flops. That's because the product that we're talking about either launched, a bus into the sun, it nukes a whole city block, what have you. So, assuming that your current superhero's alias isn't salvageable as is, tell me how you would propose we rebrand and relaunch your superhero next season as this fresh face, totally unassociated with the current PR crisis at hand hero.
Well, Todd, we're glad you asked that question. We are well aware that naming a channel The Question may lead to some icky comparisons to some of these fake conspiracies that come out in anonymous drops.
Alyse called it, and that's so good.
So
keep going.
While we are still working through the test data on the name Question, we think it may be prudent to go in a different direction. Should we have to abandon the Q branding, we are prepared to have Vic Sage host The Answer, still with his classic face-blocking mask, iconic floor-length blue trench coat, but putting some space between those poorly thought-out works of fiction that pass for conspiracy theories these days.
All right.
Wait.
Sure.
I
Kyle,
think
fuck
we
you.
all
I
put
love
our
you.
we put our binders down and we said, so what you're saying is instead of naming it The Question,
Everyone in the room did one of these and just pinched the bridge of their nose and sighed.
instead of calling him The Question, we're going with The Answer.
Yep.
That has big
It's radical.
like Guy Fawkes mask energy. Like he's gonna be.
Yeah.
He wears a mask with no facial features on it. It's not. You're not far off from what we're going for here.
Yeah, it's because he's got remember the 5th of November tattooed on his forehead.
Yeah.
Gross.
Again,
Stop that.
Rorschach is a knockoff this guy. So
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
what you want me to do with that.
He does feel very one note.
Yeah.
Okay. Andrew, what do you have for your child that can punch walls with godlike strength?
So speaking of one notes, so again, given our client's predisposition for hospitalizing schoolyard bullies, smashing cars of his classmates' parents, his late night super benders, masquerading as an adult to get into clubs, masquerading as an adult to buy beer, and what he calls that Tom Hanks in Big glow up.
Weird.
The people of Philadelphia have come to connect Shazam with more or less of a horny teen version of Superman.
I mean, yeah.
So, much like Coke Classic, the answer to our future can be found in the past. The car smashing, liquor store frequenting Shazam is gone. Instead, welcome the original Captain Marvel. That's right. The original Captain Marvel. Not Carol Danvers. What's his character's name?
Billy Bats.
Billy Batson.
Editor, leave that in.
It's fine. It's in. And it's not just Captain Marvel. We're making this a literal family affair by pulling in all of Billy's other foster siblings to keep him in check. Together with Mary, Freddie, Eugene, Pedro, and everyone's favorite little sister Darla, they will be known as America's new first family, the Marvel family. All of this is very real. Shazam was originally Captain Marvel, for those of you who don't know the bit listening. Or the first Captain Marvel was created in the 40s, and before even DC bought the property. And then after DC bought the property, there was some copyright stuff, and then there's some copyright stuff with obviously with Marvel. So they changed it, Captain Marvel, to Shazam in the 60s. But there's a bit at the end of the Shazam movie where all of the kids share in Zachary Levi's powers, and then they all become adult superheroes. That's from the comics. That's called the Shazam family, or originally the Marvel family. In the remaster, the post 2011 version, there are 5 kids and they all become different things. And Freddy, the one who's paralyzed, is actually, like, for a while known as Captain Marvel Jr., which is kind of interesting. Anyway, yeah, so Marvel family, very real thing. The reason we're doing this is people tend to fear what they don't know. So this is why we're going to put cameras on our new superhero family pretty much 24/7. Think like a super-powered Kardashians. These brothers and sisters are going to be front and center in their very own reality show, spin-off reality show, Instagram influencer deal with Blue Apron, spin-off to the spin-off series where somebody gets married, guest spot in 3 Law & Order SVU episodes, and of course, we've already mentioned earlier, the sibling who gets the lowest ratings will be stunt cast in a future season of Dancing with the Stars.
Andrew, that sound you hear, by the way, is Disney dropping off the first of many truckloads of cease and desists on your front door.
Yeah, we're spending the whole money on litigation. We're just going to keep this whole thing in the courts while we churn and burn on these reality shows. Now, finally, what's a TV family unit without a problematic patriarchal figure coming out of the woodworks to capitalize on all the opportunity to make money? During season 3, we're going to introduce C.C. Batson, Billy's long-lost father, who reveals to have been searching for Billy for years. Just as any good third act reveal, we'll find that he is actually being mind controlled by a giant evil telepathic worm named Mr. Mind, who wants to use Billy's powers to destroy the Council of Eternity and rule over the Magic Lands. That's also very real, and Mr. Mind is a wild design.
Oh, this is all real.
He's just a big worm.
Will you drop a picture of Mr. Mind in our notes, Andrew?
Yeah.
So
It's going to be the episode.
Mr. Mind is a post-credit stinger in the Shazam movie.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm.
I watched the Shazam movie and I do not remember it.
Oh, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
Talks to Evil Eye Guy. Yep,
Wow.
in prison.
Okay.
was it a giant worm in the movie?
It's a little worm. He's a little
Okay.
guy.
All right.
Huh.
That super happens. That's like a very real thing.
There he is. We'll put this on. We'll make this the episode image. He's a big old worm.
Oh,
He's
shit.
cooking a man in this picture.
Oh, he has a little recipe book. That's so cute.
He does.
Oh.
Comics
His-
are silly.
Comics are fun. His real name is Mixivorous Mind, and he's from the Wildlands, which is a world that is controlled by anthropomorphic animals. And he started as a bookworm and kind of like he read like the DC Universe's version of the Necronomicon, and now he's got like the wisdom of the universe, and he's smarter than King Solomon or whatever.
Okay.
Sure.
I love him.
My
think
team
he's great.
is currently pushing Andrew and all his red string dots that he brought to connect all these plot lines.
It's just words.
out of the
All the way down.
out of the room. Matt, what are you and the Manhattan Project suggesting?
Yeah, see that name, it's catching on. Rebranding and relaunching a fresh face for Mr. Trainer should be relatively easy. For one, he spent the last 60 years wrapped up like Invisible Man. Well, unlike Invisible Man, there's an actual human face under those bandages, and the world is ready to see it. Also, every time my client's body dies, he just inhabits a new one, so it should be pretty easy to find this fresh face. But, more than anything, we need a new brand. For years, Larry Trainer has been a member of the Doom Patrol. Well, nothing brings comfort to the masses like a thing called Doom, right? Wrong. We need to set Mr. Trainer off on his own. Split him from the group the same way he splits his energy from his own body. We also can't go around calling him Negative Man anymore. Here in 2021, we live in a world of self-care and optimistic thinking. If we're going to put Larry Trainer on the metaphorical billboard,
Glass half full man.
What? Huh?
Sorry, glass half full man.
His branding needs to match this mindset. So please allow me to introduce you to the new Larry Trainer, Positive Man. We'll be making a large donation to the VA to have him to have a new hospital named after him.
We're positive he'll burn through your body and discard it like a husk to move on to a new one.
Positive.
You can have that one for free, Matt.
All right, Matt, I'm positive that was something.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure what that something is. Alyse, what about you? Any ideas for alternative branding for your hero?
We're actually hoping to do something similar to what Kyle and Matt are proposing and just do a complete 180 on my client's image. We want to capitalize on his passion for justice and doing good in his community, but really transition him from this like all out darkness to the light, and from threatening to approachable. So we have a series of steps that we're going to use to do that. The first is we're going to sign him up for anger management classes, every kind of therapy known to man, and a team building ropes course retreat with the rest of his colleagues on the Justice League. We really feel like doing a trust fall or two would benefit my client and just help him improve his attitude. To clear up what his motivations are around serving his community, we want him to do some photo ops, cleaning up a park or reading to kids in a hospital. Basically anything that isn't just dropping people off of buildings to break their legs and torture them and elicit a confession. We want to have different images out there. The biggest component for our campaign, though, is to rename our client and refocus him on a new symbol, a new mascot. While we really like the novelty of having a flying mammal as a mascot, and we think the kind of like mythic quality that he's built around himself is really cool, we want to keep that. But we're going to go with a new symbol that's just a little more positive. So, same idea, but a little more positivity. We're going with Pegasus Man. So his symbol will be the mythical flying horse Pegasus. Who doesn't love Pegasus? He's badass.
Awesome.
He flies. He's a mammal. He's inspiring. He's not hideously, horrifically awful. So that's what we're trying.
Holy shit, Pegasus
I'm
Man.
trying to imagine what the change in that suit would look like, and that's very, very exciting.
I cannot get the image of Batman reading to kids in a hospital out of my head. It's there forever.
Him like raking a park on a Sunday afternoon wearing like a t-shirt for the organization he's working for is something that
But still has the cowl. Like
Well, and I have to imagine you can change the name, but you can't change the voice. So every time he beats up a bad guy, he's like, I'm Pegasus Man.
He's got one of those pop-up books. He's with a little kid. He's like, where is she? Where is she?
Well,
Where is she? There she is.
you four have given us a lot to think about. But before we make a final decision, we have one more super secret bonus question for you all. We know what each one of your clients is missing at this point. and that is for certain a big name corporate sponsorship to run their new brand with. So, and I mean, if I've learned anything about corporate America, it's that pairing a celebrity with a big name corporation, it has literally never failed. There is not one example of that ever going wrong. And obviously, we have some good ideas, but before we tell you our ideas, we want to hear your ideas. So, your super secret bonus question is, tell me what big name corporate sponsor would be a perfect pairing for your superhero, and that will really just help launch their brand in a new and exciting direction. And we will take those answers when we get back from the break.
Hi, I'm Eric.
I'm Amanda.
And we are House Breakfast, your new favorite Twitch stream that you should definitely be following.
Here's the thing. You can eat breakfast anytime, and we want everybody to know that. And you can also play video games in a low-stakes, fun way with a really wholesome chat every Tuesday and Saturday.
We're partners in life-loving podcasting, and that now includes streaming, because everyone needs to learn how to stream in 2021.
But playing games that we played on our N64 and PlayStation 2 and GameCube is soothing, and I think the one thing that might make all of this just kind of slightly better.
We really like Pokemon and Mario. You're just going to have to deal with that.
So find us at twitch.tv/housebreakfast.
And follow us on Twitter at @housebreakfast_. House Breakfast, because you can eat breakfast anytime. That was pretty, I like that.
I like that too. Good job. Good job.
Okay, so we're back. All right, team. So I need to know which big name corporate sponsor you plan to hitch alongside your superhero that's really just going to take him to the next level. We'll go ahead and look at my notes. Well, we start with Kyle.
So, Todd.
Yeah.
As you might have guessed at this point,
I've got a couple ideas.
Question really isn't one to embrace corporate sponsorship. You know, he doesn't like to see the heels of capitalism that are crushing us funding his well-researched reporting. So he is going to go a different route and join the likes of Goop and InfoWars and sell brain force brain pills on his channel.
Stupid.
And
Oh my god.
with the catchphrase, when you need to answer the question, take brain force.
I thought that we would go a whole podcast without ever mentioning beta blockers, but here we are.
Here we are.
Next,
Here
you're going
we
to try
are.
and sell like super beats. It's beats, but they're more beats, and it's a powder. God. All right, Andrew, what is your destructive child doing?
I mean, the answer is Axe body spray. Like, is there a better answer than Axe body spray? Like, that's obviously. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna steer in the skid, baby. Like, what if prepubescent boy with superpowers doesn't want to hang out with Axe body spray?
That sentence didn't
I
do
lost
what
the
you
forest for
wanted
the trees. But here's the 30-year plan, right? Like, we're doing a deal
I
with Axe
guarantee
body
you,
spray.
Axe body spray does not have a 30-year plan.
Hey, they're still around, so I don't know. I wouldn't put it past P&G. So we're gonna, is that P&G? Yeah,
Yep.
we'll say it's P&G.
What isn't P&G?
So we have decided we're actually gonna sell the film rights to the name Shazam, right? So we're keeping Captain Marvel, right? We're gonna sell the film rights to the name Shazam. So the Zachary Levi movie, that's gone. Instead, we're gonna sell it. Wait with me here. We're gonna we're pulling back Sinbad to perform as a genie who grants wishes. I really wanted to pull that in. So yeah,
Do you mean Shaq?
We're making shit. No, the joke is there is a movie called Shazam where Sinbad is a genie who is it Shaq or
It's Shaq.
Sinbad?
Sinbad.
Is it
It's
Shaq?
both. It's both.
I've heard Sinbad, but maybe it's both.
Well,
Shaq was the Kazam. Shaq was Kazam.
Yeah, Shaq
Yes.
was Kazam.
The joke is there's a movie called Shazam
You're all right.
that was featuring
we all
Sinbad.
lost.
Oh,
All right.
all right.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah.
weird.
Well, there's the Mandela effect in real time. That's
we
what
all
that
went
was.
into a fight thinking that we were right, and collectively we all were.
Yep.
Aw.
Matt, what about you? What partnership are you? Is the Manhattan Project bringing us?
Yeah, so one of the most interesting things about Negative Man, or I'm sorry, Positive Man,
Oh, yes,
is
sure.
that when
job.
he separates himself and releases his positive energy force out of his corporeal form, he actually like faints and goes into a coma for a little while. And let me tell you, Todd from DT exclamation point, there is no better place for Positive Man to rest than on a purple mattress. There's no better place to go into a 60-second coma than on a purple mattress, who we are partnering with as of right now.
It's really good.
That is really fun.
It's really, really good.
Alyse, what partnership are you suggesting for Pegasus Man or the other unnamed hero that you have brought us today, who may or may not be standing in the room with us right now? I can't tell. I just feel
You wouldn't know. I mean,
brooding.
you
Yeah.
wouldn't know if he was there. Yeah, you would
Yeah.
know. So we're gonna go with we really want to have this more appealing, more approachable, more friendly image, but also kind of sticking to the kind of animal theme, animal imagery. Everybody likes their pets. Everybody, trusts someone who can cuddle a kitten. We're going with PetSmart. We're gonna have ad spots of Pegasus Man just, in puppy kindergarten training his dog, rescuing cats out of trees. Like we just need as far as you could go from dropping criminals off of buildings, which we really honestly think is PetSmart. And so that's, squeaky toys, dog treats. It's all, we're all in for PetSmart.
I like
That's
that
great.
better than what I've heard. You didn't try and sell me a 30-year plan on Axe body spray, so that's great. So
Get in, buy low, sell high, Todd. Get in now.
Axe body spray is the new GameStop. Get it now.
That's right.
Well, me and the rest of the board, which is also just me, needs to decide who we are going to pick up as a client. Before we do decide, though, real quick, I would love just a quick one-sentence closing statement on just why we should take on your hero to help provide them with a new fresh image and look.
I'll keep it real easy for you, Todd. All these other plans sound really expensive, really, really big, like brand overhauls. We're launching a YouTube channel. Overhead's real low. We'll get you up and running within the month, and you'll see that return very quickly. We promise.
Andrew,
Look, Todd. Captain Marvel, aka Shazam, this is the best of both worlds. It's got the wide-eyed innocence of a youth and the sheer might of an elder god.
Matt.
All of us have heard of the 1952 self-help book, The Power of Positive Thinking. Be prepared to be introduced to the power of Positive Man, coming to a trending tab near you in 2021.
Good. And Alyse?
My client can pay better than any of these schmucks. Whatever they're paying you, add a zero, add a couple zeros, and
Yeah.
that's all I'm gonna say.
Fair. All right, so now we really do have to make a decision. While we, and by we I mean I, talk about what my ad agency / PR firm /
What services do you
whatever-
provide?
Yeah, I have Really, I should probably tell you now. DT exclamation point AA is just a money laundering situation. I have like 15 LLCs set up.
Makes sense.
It's just boxes and doors. But while we decide, why don't you all take some time to give each other some good vibes? We'll go ahead and kick it off, Kyle.
Alyse, I'll work up from the bottom. Alyse, very good pick. Before you picked him, Batman was my choice for this because no, it's fine.
You prepared 4 weeks before he did, so you get it.
Exactly. The brooding billionaire crime fighter definitely needs a PR overhaul here in this decade. So I'm with you there. Matt, Negative Man was quite the pull. And I think you landed it. I think you landed the plane, although you said Manhattan Project a lot, and that was something else.
Tell you what, Kyle, I landed the plane a lot better than Negative Man did. That's his whole story. He didn't land that plane so well.
Andrew, Shazam is very good hero. I don't know that he needs a brand overhaul though. He's a great happy boy in a grown man's body. Everyone loves that. Remember Big? Everyone loved Big.
That's like the tagline of the movie. Like, hey, remember Big? There you go. Yeah, Alyse, thanks so much for coming. I think I said this. I don't know if you caught this, but I said this off recording. The idea of Batman and the rest of the Justice League on a ropes course just like rules. I love it. I love it so much. It has real potential to be like the party scene in Age of Ultron. Like that could be for the DCCU that that scene was for the MCU. But
Zack Schneider, return our calls.
yeah, right. Maybe not Zack Snyder, like maybe any other director. Matt, you got me on the super secret bonus. The purple mattress
That's
split
so funny.
was choice. Just perfect. Negative Man is really weird, and I kept getting him confused with Spider-Man's Mr. Negative
Yep.
because like I don't really know the difference, but that was really fun. That was a really fun pull.
Hey, thanks.
Kyle, what the fuck is question?
He's Rorschach, but not.
I hate everything you said, but I support your right to say it.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Andrew, Shazam was the first of the DCCU movies that I watched, and I remembered thinking, I don't
Same.
know that I really like this character, but you made him sound okay. I don't know. Shazam is just such a weird concept to me.
He is a low rent Superman. Like, let's be honest, that's what he is.
Yeah,
He's
but
Magic
also,
Superman.
with the problems of Teen Boy, and I just
Also.
it's a weird thing. But
Yeah.
I agree with you that like if there is anybody who needs a PR campaign, it's the Shazam who is played by the guy who looks like Zachary Quinto. Kyle, the question, man. What is the question?
What the fuck is the question?
As always, hats off to your bit. It was a bit. They get more and more uncomfortable, but you keep pulling them off. So thanks for doing that. And Alyse, excellent job. Thanks for hanging out today. You got through your whole thing without ever actually saying Batman, and that alone is super impressive.
A+,
So,
yes.
Wow, yeah.
you.
A+
That's
commitment.
really good.
Yeah, also, I think that you were the most PR agent out of all of us, because you were the one who came in and you were like, listen, this guy is an asshole, and we need to make him not look like an asshole. And I really
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Honesty is important in this business, you know?
And we agree in this business that I'm part of.
Well, I just loved hearing y'all's pitches. They were so funny. Kyle, so topical, so like chillingly, alarmingly topical. And yeah, I mean, I think like in all seriousness, like you've brought to light the ways that like these things get, these types of individuals get valorized and, glorified, and like they see what they're doing as the right heroic thing. So I think that's an important thing to talk about. And Andrew, I'm just so happy to know about the worm. I'm like thinking about getting a tattoo,
Right?
Like just this
Yeah,
worm
I'd
cooking
support
a
that
man
decision.
out of a recipe book. It's just like
Yeah.
chef's kiss, incredible.
Yeah,
Um,
it fucking rules.
And then Matt, I just can't believe that like Negative Man and the Doom Patrol ever worked. Like I'm so shocked that that was the original idea. So it's the perfect one to do a PR campaign, advertising campaign for. And yeah, how genius to release this polarity. A joke that was so funny it broke my whole computer. As soon as I spelled out what you were doing, my microphone died. So yeah, it's great. It's really great.
Yeah, there's a Doom Patrol series on HBO Max right now.
Apparently,
Yeah,
it's
Frasier
really
stars in
good.
it.
Brendan
Well, I think
Fraser.
Fraser's in it?
he plays a character that wears a mask all the time. I don't think Brendan Fraser is actually there ever.
No, he only does voiceover,
Yes.
but he plays the character in flashbacks. I read a lot about Doom Patrol
Wow.
today. I don't know.
You'll have to let us know if it's worth watching, because I
Yeah.
did not watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll update you.
Well, you all have given me the board of this year
Your
agency.
pradvertising agency.
Yes, a lot to think about. And so, first, before I tell you who we are going to pick up as a new client, I'm going to tell you the 3 we did not pick up as a new client. Gonna talk first here, Andrew.
Sure. Did you pick me up?
We
and
are
we're
not.
good? Great.
We are not
Awesome.
taking Billy Batson, and I'm gonna tell you why. 2 reasons. One, when I asked Billy Batson what we could do to help him, he just answered "D's nuts," and that's
Yeah, he does
that's
that.
not okay.
He does that. It's
Also,
fun.
when you said you're dropping Shazam altogether and just going full Marvel, I need to tell you the mouse is outside waiting. Marvel is suing you. They are going to take you to court and take everything you have.
Well, good thing I don't have anything to my name.
You should probably leave out the back door.
I'm gone.
Next, I gotta say, Matt, we're not gonna pick up negative/positive man either.
It's a real bummer.
The good news is I think Purple Mattress will take you, but we're gonna tell you probably don't open with being the Manhattan Project. We can't really touch that one. Also, the whole your hero steals new bodies when they're destroyed thing, whether you call that positive energy or negative energy, can't spin that. We got to just leave that one go.
Well, he only uses brain dead bodies, canonically.
Different, but maybe not better.
Not
You just make another zombie? God damn it,
Yeah.
Matt.
No, different. Dead Man was on my short list, but I went a different direction.
And lastly, the third one we are not taking today is going to be Question. We are not taking Question for a number of reasons, and I saved you for
We're
last.
just
so I can
happy
tell
we
you
weren't
all
the
of them.
first or second one cut.
Oh no, you were the first one to go, but I wanted to set aside a minute to tell you why. So, no, go. You and your client can sit down. You're gonna hear all these things. As Alyse said, chillingly, alarmingly topical is very right. The bad news is that we know already the YouTube algorithm you're gonna put us down with the show is problematic, and we don't want to be part of that. The good news for you is that other ad agencies from other organizations probably will back you, which is also problematic for all of us. I made a note here on my notebook. It says art imitates life, and I hated all of this. So, which is a long walk to say we will be picking up Batman/Pegasus Man, and the PetSmart combination is great. And I gotta tell you why. First, there's a famous quote, "In terms of money, we have no money." And so that was a big selling point for your hero. Also, the reality is Batman is a big bummer. And he's got to be like insufferable to be around, but he certainly deserves help. And we think that would make him better overall. We do have one stipulation, and that is that we need you to never, ever, ever say you're recruiting minors from the circus to fight crime with you ever again. You can't ever. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, we will definitely be taking Batman.
My client will be calling your client.
Well, with all of that said, we want to say thanks for listening to Debate This. You can follow along with the arguments on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Debate This Cast, or on our website at debatethiscast.com. If 3 weeks a month just isn't enough for you and you'd like more Debate This content, consider subscribing to our Patreon, patreon.com/debatethiscast, at $5 a month to get access to the exclusive premium feed. You'll get all the latest, and the backlog episodes of our 2 premium shows, which are Forbegorf and the Office Drones, a D&D real play podcast featuring real-world office workers, and of course, The Plus is Loose, a weekly recap show where we review the latest Disney Plus MCU show. Alyse, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. It's just been a real pleasure for you to just be in here with all the goofs that we're doing. Where can our listeners find more of you?
Yeah, my podcast, Sweet Bitter, you can find at sweetbitterpodcast.com, anywhere you get your podcasts under Sweet Bitter, and Sweet Bitter Pod on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and all the places. And then my own writing you can find on AlyseKnorr.com. I've written a book about Super Mario Brothers 3. I wrote a book starring Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Xena Warrior Princess and Dana Scully from the X-Files. So all kinds of nerd content out there at AlyseKnorr.com.
That's awesome. And that's Knorr spelled with a K.
Yep, Knorr, just like the soup mix.
Nice.
All right.
Well,
You've said that before.
yeah, that's the first time you've
Yes.
ever done that.
Sadly, I'm not of those Knorrs. Otherwise, I'd be as wealthy as Bruce Wayne, but different Knorrs.
Bummer.
The Knorr Empire.
Well, until next time, I'm Todd Thomas.
I'm Kyle. I promise I'm not really a Q conspiracist Harper.
He has to say that. I'm Andrew, Subway $5 Club Drugs Henderson.
I'm Matt. This is the most I've used my $42,000 PR degree since I graduated from college. Cole.
And I'm Alyse, Pegasus Woman Knorr.
And we're saying thanks for debating with us. And if you think we're wrong, you can come fight us behind the swing sets, nerds.